Thank you. No rush.
Good morning, Mount Pleasant Dragons. Mr. Auerbach here with your morning announcements, coming at you live.
Our adaptive playground ensures that kids with and without disabilities have access to play on playground equipment.
Or one super strong one, right?
Yeah, so what could we say about his performance?
So maybe that would be something on the way he speaks.
His dad was from.
Whether we're going to take turns through paragraphs.
The engineering students have done an amazing job of visualizing how to make things that really help people with disabilities create art and express themselves.
Then everybody looks at the lyrics, they're going to get
Like putting on a coat. Oh!
Hip hip! Hip hip! Hip hip!
So today I wrote one of my favorite books, Don't Let the Pigeons Stay Up Late.
right on the baby skirt. There you go. 1 and 2 and 3 and breathe. 1 and 2 and 3 and breathe.
All right, so it works, right?
Sure do.
Okay, we're good to go. So hopefully next time when that one pops up, we'll be able to pick that every time and get it to work.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
I've been with Harlan for 11 years. I was an intern in the district and then I got hired and I've been here ever since. And I love it and I just feel like it's where I'm meant to be and it's what I'm meant to be doing with my life.
Say you want to be a nurse, that's your goal. Or you want to be a doctor, or you just want to be in healthcare in some sort of form. And this is like your ladder, right? You're starting somewhere. I don't say foot in the door, I say this is your stepping stone to where you want to go.
Aquarius, but you don't know about the stars yet. What you know about is the moon. Which are rather, daytime or nighttime?
There you go. Yeah, sorry. It's going to be a lot faster than an actual like adult or teenager would listen.
2 on at night, 365 days a year.
1 and 2 and 3 and breathe.
Good morning, Matt Meyer, County Executive here at Lancashire Elementary. It's a beautiful, almost spring day here with Senator Kyle Evans-Gay, Representative Sherry Dorsey Walker. We're doing something really exciting thanks to healthy food for healthy kids.
So what happens now? Seriously, things did not go well back there.
our most tender years of development, life threw a curveball, disrupting what we knew and forming our current ways of life. Every decision made and step taken in the past 4 years got us to where we are today. Every tear, every sleepless night, every Zoom call we fell asleep on, each moment of joy and the hard work has all paid off.
We are a collection of passionate individuals with unique backgrounds and interests. We are the National Honor Societies, the Black Student Union, the Gay Straight Alliance, the Asian American Club. We are mentors and students and student council advocates speaking up for a better Concord. Together, we have demonstrated the power of collaboration, inclusivity, and empathy. We have proven that we can make the most of any situation, that we can find joy amidst chaos, and that there is not one reason to doubt us.
Whether we knew it or not, our time at Mount has been defined by the We Are acronym: accountable, respectful, and engaged. These are not mere words. They are principles that have shaped and prepared us to make a positive impact on our local and global communities.
When I reflect upon my educational journey within the Brandywine School District, I'm overwhelmed with a sense of appreciation for the many teachers who have led us to be here. These individuals have not only shared their knowledge with us, but they have also become true sources of inspiration and role models in our lives. Their influence has extended far beyond the confines of the classroom, instilling in us values like responsibility and integrity that will guide us for years to come. Thank you for your unyielding commitment to our growth, for believing in us when we sometimes doubted ourselves, and for being the extraordinary educators that you are.
While tonight is great, this is not our final finish line. The truth is, we have a lot more finishes to go. As we move on with our own journey and start our new course, heading to the next finish line in our own lives, it's important for us to remember that true success is when we can influence those around us in a positive way.
As we part ways, let us remember we are equipped with the knowledge and the skills that will carry us through life's challenges, the compassion to courageously navigate the world, and the determination to make a positive difference.
Will the graduates of the class of 2023 please stand?
I congratulate you, the class of 2023. You may now turn your tassels from right to left.
It is with great pleasure that I say to you for one final time, class dismissed.
Comment on dit les toys en anglais? How do we say that in English? Star. Ça c'est très bien, star.
There's the bus! We're gonna go see Miss Anna and Miss Marguerite.
So what do you think? Higher or
Yes, higher.
Good.
Good job, Lucy.
the environment.
You got it! Take care of the environment!
How are you going to work responsibly in the classroom?
Help people when they need help.
Brave men who work while others sleep, who dare while others fly. They build a nation's pillars deep and lift him up to the sky.
And have a small glimpse into sacrifices these fine men and women have given to the United States of America. Thank you to all the veterans in the world that have fought for our country.
Proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget all those who died, who gave that right to me, and I proudly stand.
How many blocks? 2. Almost 2. Oh, good.
Contribute just a little bit to the
Some daily tasks that seem easy present unexpected challenges for the millions of Americans with independent living disabilities.
Go ahead, give it a hit.
Devices like the one shown here, called power links, allow those with physical disabilities to control appliances with an assistive switch. However, these can be cost prohibitive for those who need them most.
Cost is huge in special ed, right? Everything is so expensive. When you have a person with disabilities, everything, the markup on every product is massive.
Last year, we took on the challenge of developing affordable alternatives to this technology. While we succeeded in creating effective devices that performed well in real-world environments, their labor-intensive designs limited their large-scale impact.
This year, we sought to create a device that would be easier to manufacture at an even lower cost. By designing a printed circuit board, we could get hundreds of vital parts assembled quickly and easily for less than $5 a piece.
To create a robust enclosure for the Assistive Appliance Control Unit, or AACU, we turned to leftover PVC remnants from construction sites. By upcycling this frequently discarded material, We are helping to decrease the 7 billion pounds of it that enter landfills yearly in the US.
With that in mind, we drew out some ideas focused on a small and easily assembled form factor. 3D modeling was key in ensuring the components fit just right.
We found that our AACU performed well in extreme use environments, such as adapted physical education classes, where high-impact collisions are more common.
Home run!
However, schools aren't the only places where the AACU can have an impact.
We may age into some kind of disability at some level. We know that we don't have to give up that healthy, active, and engaged lifestyle, and students such as these young gentlemen really help to make that happen through their design and through moving their projects forward.
By creating a device that can be easily assembled using household tools, we hope to benefit each of the 10,000 Delawareans with independent living disabilities, with help from community partners. For example, our district's Skills for Independence, Transition, and Employment program gives young adults with disabilities the opportunity to practice employable skills through product assembly and other services.
Their prototype could really help change the lives of those facing severe physical and cognitive disabilities by providing a cost-effective tool to help them navigate everyday tasks.
We can see that the technology exists to give anyone the ability to live more independently. We believe that with the right model, those who need this technology won't have to worry about the cost.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome you to tonight's town forum. Thank you for coming out and for your interest in understanding more about the referendum that will be held on February 13th. We're going to run through a presentation tonight, and I'd like to introduce at this time some of the presenters in that presentation. We have Mr. John Scrobot, our board president, Dr. Lisa Lawson, our deputy superintendent, Mr. Jason Heller, board vice president, Ms. Jill Flore, our CFO, Mary Beth Baxter, parent volunteer, Mr. Kenny Rivera, who was our assistant superintendent, and I'm Lincoln Holder, superintendent. I'd also like to acknowledge we have a board member joining us by Zoom this evening, Ms. Kristen Pigeon. And I'd also like to introduce Mr. Chuck Landry, who is a member of our district finance committee, which is a committee made up of citizens and board members. The citizens have expertise in the area of finance and business, and they review our financial records on a monthly basis and make recommendations to the Board of Education. They play a significant role in the financial operation of the district. And with that, we're going to get started, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Jason Heller. Thank you.
All right, we'll try that one. How's everybody? I'm so glad you all came out tonight. Before we start with the presentation, I want to just tell you a little bit about why I'm standing up here tonight. So it's kind of interesting because my very first contact with the district as a parent was during the 2016 referendum. I had recently moved to Delaware from New Jersey, and my kids were in the school and we were just happy with everything that was going on. And then we heard about this referendum thing coming up, and I was like, I don't understand what this is, because in most other states, you only go to referendum when something big is happening, when you want to build a new school, when you want it, right? So I was hearing that our referendum, though, is how we just operate schools, and it didn't make sense to me. So I came out to a meeting just like this and heard all about the referendum. And I was sold not only on the referendum, of course, but also in volunteering every way that I could to be a part of the success of the district. And all of that led here, which is my 6th year on the board. And the part that I get to present is about what a referendum is in Delaware and why we have to do it, because that's the thing that I did not understand coming from another state. And I know it's a big point of confusion. So I'm excited this has gotten to come full circle. And now I get to share what I've learned over the years with you. So the first thing to understand is that there's essentially 2 major parts of a school district budget in Delaware. There's the capital portion, which is major construction projects like the remodel that happened here at Brandywine High School over the past number of years. And then there's the operational part of the budget, which is the day-to-day expenses that come along with running a school district. So the capital part is kind of like getting a home equity loan to put an addition onto your house, right? And the operational part is paying your electric bill and your sewer bill and buying cleaning products and groceries, right? So 2 very different parts of the budget. What we're talking about today is operational. So it's all the stuff that goes in to the school district being able to run and just provide the services that we're required to do. So what is involved in the operational side of our budget? Like I said, it's the day-to-day costs that go into running the school district. And it's everything you would imagine that goes into that, right? We have 2.2 million square feet of building space that needs to be maintained. This is a pretty old building built in the 50s, and look at it, right? This only happens because of the maintenance that our incredible team led by John Reed does. All the extracurricular activities that happen in the district. Technology, right? We rolled out one-to-one laptops for all the students during COVID. And now we have almost 15,000 devices that need to be managed and maintained and updated and replaced when they break. All of our paraeducators, the classrooms, 905 classrooms, our arts programs, if you've seen the arts program for this year, you know that we have almost one art or musical performance for every day of the school year. All of that comes out of operational budgets. Our buses run all day long and use almost 14,000 gallons of fuel every week, right? Huge expense. And then, of course, the biggest part of our budget is people. About 80% of the operating budget goes to pay the people that do this, including the over 1,000 teachers, but also custodians, maintenance, bus drivers, technology, right? Everything that goes into running the district. So why do we need a referendum in Delaware? So Delaware is a unique state in that our revenue is determined by referendum. In most states, as you can see here, as expenditures increase, in most states, there's a mechanism for the revenue to increase along with it so that the school district can pay the bills, but not in Delaware. The only way that schools get revenue in Delaware is through a referendum. So we go to a referendum, and that referendum sets our revenue. And it never changes again. No matter how much expenses increase, the revenue doesn't change until we go back to referendum. But what that means is we can't go to referendum every year, of course, right? This is obviously more than a year-long process we've been going through to get here. It's just not logistically possible to do every year. So we have to plan a few years out. We have to make a referendum last for years. So what that means is at the beginning of a referendum, after a referendum passes, we have a surplus because we're planning for years out. And then at some point, that revenue and expense line meet, right? We're revenue neutral, and then they cross, and we're deficit spending. So we're spending down the surplus until we get to a point that we're at today where there is no more surplus to spend, which means there won't be enough funds in the budget to meet our expenses for next school year. And what that does is triggers another referendum, and then it all repeats again. So we determine what the tax rate needs to be to meet the expenses. We go to referendum and ask the taxpayers to approve that. And that sets our new revenue line, which then stays there forever, right, until the next referendum. And the same thing repeats itself. So we're spending surplus until the lines cross. And then once the lines cross, we spend down that surplus until there's nothing left to operate for the next school year. And then we go back to referendum. So the last time we did this whole process was 2016, which, as I mentioned, was the first time I had any contact with the district trying to figure out what this was. So 2016 was the last referendum that we had. And the promise then was 3 years, right? That new tax rate would get us through to meet our expense obligations for 3 years. But obviously it's not 2019 now, right? It's 8 or so years later. So how did that happen? Two things. One is 3 years the goal, but of course we always try to make it last longer through fiscal stewardship. So what does this look like? It looks like looking at the positions of the district, making sure that we're not overstaffed in any one area. It looks like teachers and administrators going out for millions and millions of dollars in grants to offset things that would have cost the district money. And then on top of that, COVID happened. So along with COVID came some federal funding called ESSER funds. And this federal funding just pushed that crossover point from surplus to deficit down the road. So that kind of got us where we are now. So instead of deficit spending sometime in the 2018-ish range, right, that crossover happened much later, just a couple of years ago. And then we deficit spent for the past couple of years. And then here we are today, where we know that there's not enough money today to cover the expenses that we have for next school year. And that's what triggers this referendum and this ask to raise that revenue line so that we can meet those basic expenses. So with that, I think I'm turning it over to Mr. Rivera. I think you're right over there to talk a little bit about what is covered in the referendum.
Thank you, Mr. Heller. Hi, my name is Kenny Rivera. And for those of you who were around in 2016 when we had our last referendum, you may remember some of this. These were the items in which we told the district residents that we were going to invest in. And as a resident, as a parent of 5 kids in this district as well, it's important to me to know that the district has delivered on that investment that we had asked. And we're going to go through some of these items here very briefly to see what we have done since 2016 with that last investment we asked our community. So first and foremost, we are here about educating our students. The academics is extremely important. We are the first to say that obviously COVID took a hit nationwide on academic performance. It's not where we want it to be. We do not hide or run from that. We are very proud with the growth that we have seen our students make from some amazing educators we have in this district over the past year or two. And we are being recognized for that through some national recognitions just this year. Just about, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago, all 3 of our high schools were named in the top 5 public comprehensive high schools in the state of Delaware from U.S. News and World Reports. You may know they have these rankings for colleges, high schools, and other organizations. All 3 of ours were in the top 5. The College Board, who runs AP for advanced placement, which some of you may know about, also gave Brandywine High School a very high distinction. Only 7 schools in the state of Delaware received this distinction of being named an AP honor roll recognized school, and that just came last month. Every year we have students who are National Merit Scholars. These are students who are in the top 1% in the nation with the PSATs and SAT scores. And then we have students in the U.S. Physics Olympiad team. So impressive what our students are doing. And as a parent, one thing I'm always thinking about is how am I going to pay for college? And thinking how well are our schools preparing our students to persist through college? And down below, we just took a little snapshot of just a few of the most prestigious universities that our students were admitted to and military academies just last year. And we have over $45 million reported from students in scholarship money last year. And that's something, you know, paying for college is one of those things that I think we all think, how are we going to do? And it makes me realize how grateful I am that I send my kids to a school district where they're helping guide our students into the most prestigious universities, but also helping to pay for it as well through scholarship money. Our district is second to none with STEM programming. We made quite an investment over the past decade plus in STEM programming, and we have received quite some high honor recognition. And it's not just Brandywine, which we're going to talk about here, but Concord also has received some quite distinguished honors in STEM programming as well. You may have seen this in the national news, also in local news. Right here at Brandywine High School, we had a team who won the national Samsung Solve for Tomorrow competition. This is huge. This competition has over 2 million people who's participated in this competition over the past decade from the most prestigious high schools in the United States every year. We have students from teams from Concord and Brandywine who have made it to the state finals multiple times, and both of them have made it to the national finals as well. And they're going up against the most prestigious schools, Silicon Valley, all these schools. Our Brandywine team last year won first place in the nation for their STEM project. It was very impressive. It came with a $100,000 check that the CEO from Samsung came to DC to deliver to them. But one thing I thought was more impressive, it was only a $10,000 check, but I thought this was more impressive, was that the employees of Samsung also got to vote themselves on the project that they thought was most impressive. They also picked the Brandywine team out of all the teams in the nation. So our STEM programming is leading to that from 6th grade all the way through 12th. And then we start in elementary with some of the clubs as well. We've expanded our high school pathway offerings for our students. being mindful of where the jobs are going to be in the future and want to make sure our students are getting high wage, high salary jobs when they graduate. So we've added biomedical and computer science. And we also offer pathway options in which students will graduate and have certifications upon graduation that will have them be able to be employed for competitive jobs. We have a Safe Serve certificate that you may see in restaurants that if you want to be a certain level chef, you have to have this certificate that students graduate having that and haven't earned that already. We have a patient care technician program where our students from all 3 high schools will leave here. We provide transportation to go to Del Tech and they take college classes in the afternoon and they leave with certificates at the end of this that allows them to be employed the day they graduate into the medical field. It's very impressive. And we have our own radio stations. We have our own radio station at Mount Pleasant High School. And the students there won national awards just a few months ago, competing against other students with communication programs. I just talked about the patient care technician as an example of a dual enrollment program. Since 2016, we started these dual enrollment classes. We offer multiple at all 3 high schools, including math courses, sociology classes, psychology classes, the patient care technician classes, many different options in which the students are being taught right here, either by a high school teacher or a college professor, earning high school credit, but also earning college credit at the same time. As many people know that we have the AP, the advanced placement, or the IB courses, which they can take the test and earn the college credit at the end. Here, we offer the college classes right here at the school, with the exception of PCT, where they actually go to Del Tech to take those classes. And my last slide is talking about athletics. So we talk about academics is obviously what we are here for, but there is so much more that we have invested in our kids, realizing that we care about the outside of the classroom experience as well as we are building citizens. Athletics means a lot to our students. It's part of the reasons why they come, that sense of belonging they build. And we take great pride in being able to offer strong athletic programs. Just this fall, you can see that we have 2 conference champions, 3 flight champions, and we are very proud to say that we had almost 400 academic all-conference athletes, which means you have to have a 3.5, I believe it's a 3.5 GPA and be on varsity. That means our students are athletes, but we put that student athlete, that student part first. Very impressive. Last year, 4 of our 6 secondary schools were awarded the DIA School Sportsmanship Award. Again, winning is important. Learning to win is important, but also learn to be a good sportsman is just as equally important to us. And we had 27 all-state athletes between our 3 high schools last year. Our students are rocking it on the field as well. Mary Beth Baxter is going to come up and continue the rest of the slides on what we have accomplished since 2016 on that investment we committed to our community.
Thank you.
Give you the clicker
Oh, yeah.
with some hand.
Okay. I'll do my best. Actually, will you do the clicker? Do the clicker for me? All right. Good evening. My name is Mary Beth Baxter, and I am a proud Brandywine School District parent. I have a 10th grader at Concord High School, and I also have a 5th grader at Carcroft Elementary. Thank you, Kenny, for introducing me. As we move on to this next slide, let's take a look at the difference between 2016 and 2023. We now have 1 SRO in every middle and high school, and that is also known as a state resource officer or like a state trooper. And I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew what that was. A little different. We have 3 constables that rotate between all 9 elementary schools. And it is our hope that we have 1 at every elementary school. And with that, we're going to move on to the next slide, which brings me to As a Carcroft parent in 2016, it was very important to me that the entrance become safe and secure. So you can see it in the top right-hand corner. That is our brand new entrance. I am very happy to show that to you because that was super duper important to us. This is our new cafeteria. This is an example of one of our new classrooms. We have all new hardwood flooring. And at Claymont, we have new, looks like a library. And then we have our fabulous purple color, which I'm super duper jealous because purple is my favorite color. I do wish I could be a Claymont Cougar. However, I think Carcroft would be a little upset with me. So I'm sticking with green. Also, I want to point out all of the different changes that have happened at Brandywine High School. One of the changes is this beautiful room that we are in tonight. And if you haven't seen the facade, the new facade outside, I think, John, you guys have done an amazing job of making all the changes there. We also have a beautiful brand new courtyard. And if you can get a chance, you can kind of take a peek a little bit when you guys leave here tonight. So just want to point that out. Moving on to our next slide is our after school programs. So I am super duper excited to share with you that we have some super amazing programs. One of which is flag football. We have elementary basketball league, which if anybody knows anybody else at another school district, they don't have that. We're really lucky that we have the opportunity for our students to be able to do that. We also have Girls on the Run. We have a cheerleading program, a chess club, and robotics. And moving on to the next one. Super duper excited to point out Mr. Jason Heller, right there, front row. Our Brandywine Bots guy, he's super duper amazing guy. I'm going to take a moment, Jason. Thank you for everything you do. I think you do an amazing job. Just want to point that out. Also, we have wanted to also point out that PS DuPont didn't have not one, but they had two 8th grade teams that tied for first place in Delaware, which I think that's really super duper awesome and cool. And these are all of our other amazing awards, the Delmarva Champions, World Championships, super duper awesome. Also, I had the super duper pleasure of watching Frozen. Okay. I'm going to be honest. I am not a Frozen fan. Sorry for all Frozen fans. I know it's unpopular opinion, but this performance by Mount Pleasant High School under the direction of Chris Turner was absolutely breathtaking. I have never seen anything. I've been to Broadway. I've been to Philly. I've seen shows. They made it snow. It was interactive. You had a wand. I mean, these kids really worked hard, and I'm super proud to say that they did an amazing, truly amazing job. And I think that's it. So I'm going to turn it over to Lisa. Hopefully it sounded okay.
So as we round out our accomplishments from 2016, the visual and performing arts was certainly something that we take great pride in since then and still do. Whether you're a steel band, jazz band, orchestra, we have talents for all kinds of interests with students. Choir, we just had recognitions. 36 of our students made all-state choir, band, or orchestra, and they actually touched each one of our secondary schools. So it wasn't one of our 6 schools that shined, all 6 of them shined. Our performing arts, we believe, are second to none, which is why we have been given the Best Communities for Music Education Award for 5 consecutive years straight now. Lastly, we want to talk to you about our outstanding educator recognition. One of the most challenging jobs in the 21st century, and one of the jobs that are short at this point, we have teacher shortages, are our educators. We used to have a plethora of people that want to go into education and become teachers. That's not the case anymore. We have the most outstanding educators in the state. Yes, I'm biased. 2 of our teachers have become Delaware State Teachers of the Year just since 2016, 2 of them. Brandywine School District holds the most Teachers of the Year in the state of Delaware. We have true raw talent in this district. 14 of our teachers have won State Content Teachers of the Year. We have a Library of Congress Master Teacher working for us, and 3 of our teachers have won National Presidential Awards in Excellence for mathematics and science teaching. Simply put, we've got good, solid folks here. Almost 75% of BSD's educators have master's degrees or higher. That means they've gone to school for a really long time to teach your children. But that also means that with a master's degree, and if they've taught for a long time, that we actually have to compensate them at a higher rate than a new beginning teacher who only has a bachelor's degree. And that plays into our financial circumstances as well. So what will this referendum support? We've just taken some time to talk to you about all of the things that we did with the 28 cents that we asked for in 2016. So now what are we asking for in 2024? Well, we're asking you if we can continue to maintain our safety and security. Can we add a few more constables? Can we make sure that we have school resource officers and constables keeping our children safe on school grounds? We would like to continue our non-traditional and alternative education programming. We have programming for students that need something a little bit different than what our comprehensive schools offer, more services, different supports, and we'd like to continue to provide those programs. We would like to continue to attract and hold on to our teachers that we have here currently in BSD. Again, we mentioned teacher shortages all across the state. We have sister districts that have 65 teacher vacancies. What we learned from COVID is that we need humans and certified educators in front of our children and not computers. We don't need them to be online. We need to attract and retain the best and brightest in this district. Our curriculum instruction and programming. We offer gifted programming, IB, AVID, Spanish immersion. We would like to continue those programs. We don't get extra money from the state or extra funding from the state to offer those programs. We choose to do that. My daughter went through the IB program here at Mount Pleasant, at Tally and Mount Pleasant High School, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It was an awesome experience. We would like to continue to offer those programs for your children and grandchildren. Our athletics, our clubs, all of those things we just reviewed, we would like to continue those as well. We need to keep up with the technology, interactive whiteboards, student devices, teacher devices. We want to stay in the 21st century. And then, as we mentioned before, being able to maintain our buildings. We did ask the state if they would help us renovate some buildings. We weren't able to get any of that money from the state, so we need to continue to fix what's broken. Our 91-year-old roof at Mount Pleasant Elementary, when we get a lot of water and it takes on water, we need to be able to fix that.
Thank you, Dr. Lawson. So I'm the dark rain cloud that comes in with the financial forecast and picture, but there are good things that go along with that in terms of our track record and our financial history. We have, since 2016, have had average budget growth of only 2.21%. Very responsible spending and very responsible budget growth. And that is with the addition of over 100 positions that are earned from the state since that time. So we have more people and are providing more resources on that same funding source from 2016 with very limited budget growth. So it means that other areas are cut or managed or maintained. But as Mr. Heller said in the very beginning, because we are at that cliff, at that end of that curve, if we do nothing, the reality is, as a district, we would have to cut $6.5 million in expenses for next year. And again, that's after, that's after having made cuts. Sorry, I'm struggling with the same bug that your kids are too. Okay, so the other thing I will say is you can't cut your way out of a referendum. If we cut $6.5 million, this cycle continues. I think I have to take a drink.
Oh, thank you. All right, much better. Thank you.
All right, much better. Thank you. Sorry about that. So the cycle continues because expenses go up and revenues stay the same. So you can't cut your way out of a referendum. You cut your $6.5 million, and then the next year there would be further cuts. And then after that, there would be further cuts. And so every referendum you'll see, as we talked about with Appoquinimink, there'll be a return request. And this one isn't the last one either because of that revenue cycle. So what this slide represents, what does $6.5 million look like for our districts? It's 8.4% of the budget. So it is significant. And it's not a small cut, and it's not one area. The other lines on here represent total budgets. That's the total safety and security budget, not just the constables and SROs, but the cameras and all of the equipment that goes with it. Cameras in the buildings and cameras on the buses. $6.5 million. If we cut the entire security budget, it wouldn't even come close to that $6.5 million. Same with school budgets or the total technology or the total curriculum budget. The other thing I will say is because we are a people-centered organization, what we do is provide services to students, and that's with teachers and instructors in front of students. And so 8.4% of our overall cut to the budget is 117 positions. Because so much of our budget is made up of people. So it would be significant and it would be very difficult to recover from that. The one thing, Mr. Landry is here from the Finance Committee. The board has been very engaged in working through this. We have been working through this for, as Mr. Heller said, almost a full year, and looking at what is it that we need? What is it that we want to do? How can we be responsible? Because I will tell you that nobody asks for a tax increase without taking that very seriously and making sure it is the most reasonable, responsible request. And so we looked at the different amounts and different methods to get there. 45 cents per $100 of assessed value is the amount that's needed. But do we need it all at once? Do we need it in 1 year? And the answer is no. That's that left column. No, because it generates a very significant balance or that surplus from the beginning, but we're not a bank. We don't need to keep money and hold it. We tried to look at, can we stretch it? Can we go really far and stretch over 3 years? But it doesn't get us the ending funds that we need. And that 630 balance is really important because we don't get, just like the county, we don't get the taxes. The tax bills are due on September 30th. So we actually don't get our annual funding until October. So we have to end June 30th in order to continue the expenses, start the school year, and go forward. So that ending balance, stretching it over 3 years wouldn't be enough. And we would be not in the exact same position, but still not in the position that we could maintain and support what we needed. So really the Goldilocks, the middle was the right one. And that's 25 cents the first year and 20 cents the second year as an ask. Now, what does all of that mean for a person, for a home? How much are you asking, or how much does this cost? And this is where we start to, Mr. Holler is going to talk about this. We start to get into assessed values because all of us who live in Newcastle County know that the assessors have been around, and we're undergoing reassessment for the first time in 40 years. But right now, the average assessed value in Brandywine is $72,701. And so for a home of $72,701, that ask or that increase 25 cents the first year is $182 or $15 a month. And that second year is $145 or 12 cents a month or $12 a month. It's really important to say too, if the tax rate since 2016 had gone up by 3%, we know inflation has exceeded that. If it had gone up by 3%, the ask would be 54 cents. And so in total, the ask is 45 cents whittled down and comes to $15 a month and $12 a month the second year. But with reassessment, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Holler. Oh, you got one?
Yep. I just need to click. So we want to make sure that everybody understands that when we talk about the tax rate, it's based on your home's assessed value, not market value. On the screen, you'll see an example. We found a home very close to district office that recently sold this year. The sell date was July 31st. It sold for a market price of $355,000. In order to find the assessed value, you have to go to the Newcastle County tax parcel search. So we looked up the address in the tax parcel search. That home's assessed value is $60,100. So with the request of the 45 cents per $100 of assessed value, that home in year one would pay $12.52 per month, and in year two, an additional $10.02 per month. Big difference between market value and assessed value. Lots of discussion around reassessment. Well, reassessment, those property values are going to go up. That means the districts are going to get tons of extra revenue. That's not true. According to state law, tax revenue for the district post reassessment has to be revenue neutral. In other words, what we would have received without the reassessment, we need to receive after the reassessment. I had to figure this out in my head. I'm a visual kind of guy. So current pre-reassessment, you can see the local revenue that the district would get. It takes into account all the different homes, big houses, little houses, houses with these amenities versus another house, locations, all different, but they all pay the same tax rate. That's how our local revenue is generated. Post reassessment, that revenue by law has to stay exactly the same. So if we know that property values are going to increase because of the reassessment, the only way that we can get the same amount of revenue is if we reduce that tax rate. So again, you read a lot of things on social media that the district's going to have a windfall of funding because of reassessment. Not true. By law, revenue neutral. Asking that you check your calendars and put a date in there for February 13th. That's the date of our referendum. Polls will be open from 8 to 7. 7 to 8, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Every single school in the district except Harlan is a voting location, and we'll go through voting a little deeper in a few minutes. Red Clay is also going for a referendum. Their request is 50 cents per $100 of assessed value spaced over 3 years. Plus, they were approved for capital improvements, so there'll be an additional piece to that request. Colonial is also going for a referendum on the 29th. Their request is 40 cents plus additional dollars for capital projects. And APO just went for a referendum in December, and their request was 47 cents, 44 cents for operational costs. So you can see that all the districts are very much aligned, very close in their request for operational funds.
Hello again. I'm John Scrobot. I'll tell you a little bit about myself as I
On
wrap
February
up.
13th,
We
2024,
did put together as a district a video. You've heard a lot of information tonight, seen a lot of slides. The video is out on our website. We'll kind of condense a lot of the information, paraphrase it, and put it in a nice 4-minute video, 3.5-minute video that you can refer back to, refer your friends, family, anyone that has questions can view this, and then we'll take a look at that now.
Brandywine School District will be asking voters in our community to support an operating referendum. This referendum is absolutely critical to continuing to meet the needs of our students, and it is important to be aware of what is at stake. If the referendum fails to pass, we face $6.5 million in cuts across our district, which will impact every aspect of the school day and the educational experience of over 10,400 students, from class sizes to instructional materials, staff and programs, to athletics, clubs, activities, and more. In the state of Delaware, school districts are required by law to get voters' approval to increase property taxes, known as a referendum. Brandywine last held a referendum in 2016, with the commitment it would last for 3 years. Property assessments have not been updated since 1983, so local district funding has not increased since the last referendum in 2016. It is hard to balance budgets for that long without additional funding, but through strong fiscal stewardship, federal assistance during COVID, and $16.8 million in grant writing, the Brandywine School District has been able to stretch the last referendum for an impressive 8 years. Brandywine School District has a long-standing district finance committee made up of community representatives along with members of the school board who monitor and provide oversight of district finances. In early September, this committee unanimously determined a referendum of 45 cents is needed in order to continue supporting our 16 schools. The school board agreed and voted unanimously to proceed with bringing the request to voters. In order to minimize the impact on Brandywine taxpayers, the request is to phase in this increase over 2 years, with 25 cents July 1st, 2024 and 20 cents July 1st, 2025. Based on the average assessed property value in the Brandywine School District, the increases would also phase in for $15.15 a month in the first year and $12.12 a month in the second year. Property reassessment is currently underway in Newcastle County for the first time in 40 years. While reassessment will update assessed values closer to market value, when completed in 2026, reassessment will not increase tax collections for the Brandywine School District because the district is required by law to reduce the tax rate to remain revenue neutral. Even though local district funding has not increased since 2016, inflation and the cost to maintain our essential programs, staff, and instructional support has increased considerably. This funding request focuses on maintaining critical programs and services for students and classrooms. Successfully passing on February 13th will allow the Brandywine School District to continue attracting and retaining high-quality educators, maintain the safety and security of our 16 campuses, repair and replace student computers and interactive classroom technology, continue the upkeep of our 16 buildings and grounds, covering 2.2 million square feet and 400 acres across the district, and continue the outstanding instructional and extracurricular programming offered throughout the Brandywine School District. Thank you for taking the time to understand why this upcoming vote is so important for our students and schools. We hope you will join us in supporting the Brandywine School District referendum on February 13th.
So I'll just add too that this video was created, made, narrated by a Concord High School graduate who has their own production company, marketing company, based on some of the programs and classes that they took through Concord High School. So we appreciate that. And I apologize. I think I got caught up on the what's at stake verbiage for the next video. But our CFO, Joe Flory here, does not get to share all the doom and gloom. The next video kind of lays out, again, another summary of what's at stake. And this is where people, think it gets a little dramatic when we talk about the things that, are at risk that may have to be cut. But as you saw through the earlier slides tonight of all the fantastic activities and programming and services and everything that it takes just to run a school district on a day-to-day basis, it would be foolish for us to not acknowledge that the teachers are 80% of our expenses. And as you can see, we have some of the best in the state, whether they're teachers of the year or, part of the 75% that have their master's degree and have continued their education or are working towards that. We want to be able to retain and recruit teachers of that caliber for our students, your students, those in our community. But it was also mentioned that we can't cut our way out of it. This is, the school district, the board, nobody wants to be in this position any more than the taxpayers do, having to ask for an increase. But I think we can also look at that as an investment and showing you some of the highlights of the things that are going on in our schools. If you're a parent or a student or closely connected to the district, you see these things on a day-to-day basis. So this was an opportunity to share some of that with you. But I know that cutting positions, cutting programs, larger class sizes never makes a school district better. So even though this is the process we're in and we have to make this request to the public, I stand up here with confidence with my fellow board members, Ms. Pigeon, Mr. Heller, and the rest of the board that we do so transparently. We have a finance committee that meets monthly to go over this information. Our financials are posted on our website. We have monthly meetings where we're talking about this. We're showing you what we do all the time. It's out there. Our doors are open. We want you to come look and see what's going on in our schools, look at the facilities that we have. So even though we don't like this process, I know as a member of Brandywine School District and School Board that we can do so with confidence because we've been transparent throughout the process. So we'll take a look at the next video. What's at stake? Again, it's on the website. It'll be something you can refer back to and share along with the entire PowerPoint from this evening.
Composed of 16 schools across 400 acres, the Brandywine School District supports over 10,400 students and employs more than 1,100 teachers and paraprofessionals. On February 13th, we are asking you to vote for an operating referendum that is necessary to maintain our critical programs and services, and, most importantly, to support our educators, the heartbeat of our district.
There is nothing quite like the magic that happens in the Brandywine School District. My experiences at Brandywine High School absolutely shaped the course of my life after high school and beyond, and I am honored to be able to come back and serve the school district that motivated me to become a teacher in the first place.
I work with a collection of people that believe in growing children. That's what I want to do. I want to be somebody that helps set a foundation for children to love learning. And being a kindergarten teacher, that's what my job is. It's to make sure that they come in and they learn how to be students.
You know, when you do something you love, it's not really a job, and that's how I feel here at the Brandywine School District. We're not only helping them with their academic goals, but creating children in our society that are kind and compassionate and loving children. And so forming their conscience and caring for them in that way too is very important to me.
I'm proud to be BSD because this is a supportive environment for staff, for students, for parents, and I see the product of this school and this district, and I'm quite proud of the kids here.
We hope you will come out to support the Brandywine School District, our programs, our services, our students, our educators.
So I want to make a couple just closing statements and then we'll open it up for some questions here on the floor. I don't know who will moderate that. But I do appreciate everyone that took the time to come out tonight. I'm a product of this district, K through 12, spent all my years here in the Brandywine School District. I'm a lifelong resident. After high school and college, I choose to live in the Brandywine School District. I choose to send my kids K through 12 to the Brandywine School District. I choose to volunteer my time on the school board because I see what's going on and I believe in this district. And it's easier for me to say, I think, because I see it so close and I see the people in our buildings, the day-to-day work that's done. So it makes it easy for me, as if, if you're not as closely connected to the schools. And I'm going to choose to support the Brandywine School District on February 13th. And I hope that you will join me in doing so and make that investment in our children and in our community, because it all is tied together. The schools are the hub of a community. It's reflected in our people, in our property values. And, I think that we are one of the premier districts in the state for a lot of those reasons. So thank you again for your time. We'll open up for questions. And who can vote? How can you vote?
Yep. Just wanted to run through the voting requirements to make sure everybody is clear. Who can vote? You have to live in the Brandywine School District. You must be at least 18 years old. You have to be a U.S. citizen and a Delaware citizen. You must bring a proof of identification with you to the poll. You don't have to go to your normal polling place. You can go to any of the locations. We'll run through those again quickly. And if you're unable to go to the polls, you can request an absentee ballot. All that information can be found on our district website. Google Brandywine School District. You'll see the site. The link is right there on our homepage. Again, where can you vote? You can vote in any of our schools from 7 a.m. Polls close at 8 p.m. with the exception of Harlan Elementary, because it's only 1 block away from PS. So any school except Harlan is open for voting that day. So with that, you don't have to be registered to vote, right? You don't have to be a homeowner either. If you have any questions, again, please, there's a QR code there. Go to our district website. We have our Facebook account, Instagram, Facebook. There will be links to all that information. We also request that you share that information with friends, neighbors, relatives, those in the community, so that we inform as many people as possible about the referendum. With that, we'll entertain some questions.
Thank you. Hi. So we're students from Concord High School, and we do not have any questions. We do have a couple minutes of comments prepared if you guys would like to hear us.
Absolutely.
Low student voice. We'll come up front.
All right. Excuse me. All right. Good evening. My name is Jackson Hamilton. I am a senior at Concord High School. So everyone is talking about the referendum. Over the span of 2 years, it will increase your annual property tax by $324 for the average homeowner in the Brandywine School District. But you're thinking, why do I need to pay an extra $324? And we, the students, whose education that money is going to go toward, are here to tell you why. Because without that $324, every single school in the district will lose some of its sports programs. As a varsity athlete team captain for Concord's track and field team, the influence that our schools and every other schools in the district sports team brings plays an essential and important part of leadership, accountability, and responsibility. In such a youthful stage of our lives, being able to learn such traits at a young age only propels us further as functioning, principled young adults. Sporting programs offer much more than just athletic inspiration. Without that $324, music, arts, and other club programs will be hurt. Being involved in multiple clubs, music programs, and founding a club, I have firsthand experience on the benefits they all have to offer. such as pulling together a group of individuals that want to strive for a common purpose or even idea, even if they've never met prior. These programs allow for students of differing backgrounds to come together and collaborate on tasks they all care for, providing a sense of communal unity. Furthermore, these programs open up opportunities for students to explore worlds they've never knew existed. Being immersed in new environments that students can dip their toes into in order to see if they potentially have a newfound sense of passion or potentially setting themselves up for further possible career paths. Music, arts, and clubs have so much more importance in the exploration and expansion of a student's development. Without that $324, we won't receive the benefits of technology that we do now, from Chromebooks to interactive whiteboards in every classroom. Without that $324, we won't have clean buildings to walk into. Without that $324, 117 staff members stand to lose their jobs at a time when convincing anyone to be a teacher is almost impossible. Without that $324, the quality of education in the district will deteriorate and houses within the district will depreciate in value. You may save $1,000 or so on property taxes over the span of a decade, but your house will lose more than tens of thousands of dollars of value by the time you sell it.
Hello, my name is Ojas Poto. I am a junior at Concord High School. $324 is the increase in annual property tax for the average person as a result from the referendum, with the total costs calculated by a percentage of your total taxable assets. What's the total increase of percent for the referendum? 1%, 5%, 10%? A whopping 0.45% of your taxable assets, not even half of a percent of an increase. To put that in perspective, since 2016, inflation has gone up 25%. In December of 2023 alone, inflation has risen up to 3.4%. The Brandywine School District has been stretching out the money from the last referendum since 2016. Imagine you had to pay for everything you need today, but your income is from 2016. No adjustment for inflation or no raises. The district has been doing this for 8 years straight. The seniors who last promoted the referendum in the Joint Student Council District are now 26 years old. In those 8 years, we have gone through COVID, the free and reduced lunch program, Chromebooks for every student, and many building renovations throughout the school with a huge investment in mental health resources. We have stretched our budget so thin that Mount Pleasant Elementary has a 100-year route that literally leaks water every day. The Brandywine School District is able to get your children a quality education to one of the hardest times in the country during COVID. A simple vote for will help them continue their amazing education.
A similar referendum failed in 2019, as you heard, after being forced to stretch what was meant to be a three-year budget to 8 years instead. The district stands to lose its reputation as one of the best in Delaware. If you think that this referendum will pass easily, let me remind you that Appoquinimink School District just failed all 3 clauses of their referendum. One of those clauses failed by only 4 votes. Every single vote matters. Let me remind you that the multimillionaire who sends his children to private school might vote against the referendum because he cares about a few $100s. And you must vote for the referendum because you care about your child. Get your friend from work to go with you and vote. Your parents are free. Convince them to take a couple minutes out of their day to vote for their grandchildren. Your son is 18 already? Get him to vote at his own school so his juniors can enjoy the same education that he did. Every single vote matters. And whether it's for or against the district funding, you should express your choice in the education that your child receives. On February 13th, when you cast your vote at the nearest BSD school, think of the 10,000 other students like us whose education hangs in the balance. Think of the teacher who gets paid far less than she deserves, but still walks into work every single day with a smile on her face because she just loves the kids that she teaches. Think of the 1,044 other teachers exactly like her who work in this district. Think of your children or your neighbor's children, or the one boy you see every day walking to his bus stop in the freezing cold. Is there really anything you would rather pay taxes for than for their education?
As a senior, I look back on my experience in the Brandywine School District with so much appreciation. I see all of the hard work that teachers and staff have put in to help me grow as a person. Not only is education so important and valuable, extracurriculars and support is so necessary to create well-rounded individuals. If the referendum does not pass, future students like me will not get that same experience, and that is not right. Education is the backbone for our society. And funding it is the best way to guarantee that the future generations are able to run our economy, workplaces, homes, and take care of you in the future. Education is essential to society overall, and if we don't have the budget to keep our lights on, how are you going to prepare our next generation to excel? This vote goes deeper than the money out of your wallet. How do you want to leave my generation? By taking away the limited resources we have or letting us thrive as we are? Do not let the children who cannot vote be a victim to a money issue that they are not old enough to face. Many of you adults get to make the decision out in the polls on behalf of me and my future. So please hear me, a student, when I say that your support to vote for the passing of the referendum is so needed. Thank you.
Thank you. If I can just add to that, one thing I failed to mention in my presentation was how our district has invested in student leadership. We did not know you were coming. We had no idea what you were going to say anything today, but the leadership we have seen from you over the past couple of years is just another example. And we thank you for caring about the community, your school, having a voice. We greatly appreciate all that you've done.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna get this down. I've been taking some notes. It was mentioned, and this may be an area that you have not looked into. You mentioned where you got the figures for the assessed value going into parcels, and it tells you on there the property, what it last sold for, what its assessed value is. It also tells you how much taxes they are to pay. It also tells you who's paid and who hasn't. And I know your figures are based on everyone in the district paying their taxes. Not everyone does. There are parcels that I know in my neighborhood that have outstanding tax bills. Several of them, two of them combined $60,000 in school taxes. That doesn't count the sewer or the county taxes they have not paid. Has anybody looked into, have they paid their taxes? Who hasn't? And is anybody doing anything about those that have to collect, those that have not paid? I think there's money out there that you've been missing for years that needs to be included in your talks and in your referendums and stuff like that. Because if we only have, I live in Edgemore Gardens, so our assessed value isn't that much. But these two houses, and I know these two people, and they have said, why should we pay our taxes? The county's not going to come after us.
So I'll turn it over to Jill Flore, our CFO, who manages a lot of those pieces.
Thank you for the question. That is, delinquencies is something that we monitor regularly. The school districts don't collect taxes. The counties collect the taxes on behalf of the county taxes as well as the school taxes. The tax collection rate is actually 99.8%. We have over the last, when I say we, I mean all of the Newcastle County school districts have worked with the county, who has engaged a collections firm in addition to the collectors that they have on staff. They don't have a lot. And so in the last over the last 5 years, they also contracted with a firm for collections, but our collection rate is actually very high. Our budget is set at 99.5% of collections. And I don't disagree. There are certainly properties out there, but know that there are aggressive efforts to collect those delinquencies. I don't know off the top of my head, but yes, we get those reports. We absolutely get those reports, both on commercial and residential. And I can just tell you overall, for the district, the collections as a percentage of the overall tax assessment is very small. They exist, but the percentage is very small, and they are aggressively pursuing those. And we get delinquency payments every month as a result of those collection efforts.
Any other questions? Again, thank you for your interest. Thank you for coming out tonight. When I think about this, the best way to sum it up is we're living on a revenue amount that was established in 2016, almost a decade ago. We need your help. In the past, even lately, when we present slides around here's the things that are at stake, sometimes that's been interpreted as a scare tactic. That is not what this is. It's a reality. And we don't want our community not to know what's at stake. We need to pass this referendum. Passing it will keep our schools strong, heading in the direction they are currently heading, and will keep our community strong. Please mark your calendars for February 13th. Come out, support the district, our students, and our staff, and spread the word. We need your help in getting the word out. We've got 2 more town halls scheduled. One is on a Saturday, so that if we have people working in the evenings, they can't make it to one of our town halls. It's Saturday, the 27th, 10:30 at PS DuPont, and the following Tuesday, the 30th at 7 o'clock at Springer Middle School. If you have questions in between now and then, go to the district website. If you still have questions, there's even a link there for an email. Email us. We'll get you the answer to the question that you have. Thank you. Have a great evening.